Welcome back to the channel. This is part 13 to the road to becoming a Pokemon champion. Chapter 13, The Water Flowers of Cerulean City. The group had spent the last 2 days training their Pokemon. Ash and Serena had been training especially hard, since they knew that Cerulean City would be home to Ash's second gym battle and another battle chateau for Serena to compete at. After seeing the message that Gary left for Ash, he had a new sense of determination. It was almost like Ash had reverted back to his old self of just wanting to beat Gary. That was, at least, until Serena talked some sense back into him, and told him it wasn't just about being better than his rival. Ash still secretly hoped he would run into Gary soon. Then he would challenge him to a battle and beat him. Hey, look. Cerulean City is in sight. Ash exclaimed happily once he could see the tall buildings. I can't wait until I can compete for my second gym battle. Pikachu. Pikachu said from Ash's shoulder with determination. And I can have a second chance at the battle chateau. Serena finished with an equal amount of determination. Hey guys. I was thinking. Why don't we just skip this city altogether? Misty suggested. Ash, Serena, and Brock turned towards her to give her a questioning look. Why would we want to do that? Ash asked. Oh, I don't know. I hear Vermilion City is really nice, though. It's a lot better than this old city, Misty said. Sounds great. We can go there after we come through this city, Ash replied. I mean, why waste time here? Vermilion City has great beaches, sparkling water, and it even has a gym, Misty almost pleaded. She was hoping by mentioning a gym it would encourage the group more. I remember Hennessy saying there wasn't a battle chateau there when we talked to him in Viridian City, but there is one here, Serena reminded. Well, no. There isn't a battle chateau there, but can we please just go to Vermilion City instead? Misty pleaded. Again. Misty. It sounds like you are avoiding Cerulean City. Do you have some bad experience with this place? Brock asked curiously. Well, I just really want to go to Vermilion City, Misty said while rubbing the back of her head. Alright. Let's go. Ash exclaimed. Oh. You mean it? Misty asked hopefully as she clasped her hands together. To Cerulean City. Ash finished. Misty let out a huge groan. It's been a while since I've been to a big city. Look at all of the shops, Serena commented as she looked at the various displays from the store windows. So where do you think we should head off to first? Ash asked the group as they walked along the busy streets of Cerulean City. Actually, there are some things I have to take care of for a bit, so count me out, Brock spoke up. What kind of things? Ash asked curiously. Hehehe. Never mind that. It's just something good. Plus, we are low on supplies, and I need to stock up, Brock said nervously, trying to think of an excuse. Is it a date? Ash smirked. Oh, look at the time. Bye guys. Brock said hurriedly and sped off. Well. Anyway, where do you think we should go, Misty? Misty? Ash inquired to find out she wasn't with the group anymore either. That's weird. She was here just a second ago. Where did she go to? Serena wondered. Who knows? We'll find her, or she'll definitely find us later. So I guess that leaves only you, Serena. Where do you want to go? Ash asked. How about we go to the Cerulean Gym first? I'm still kind of nervous about participating in the battle chateau again. Seeing you get your second badge might boost my confidence some, Serena replied. Thanks for the encouragement about me getting a badge, Ash said gratefully. Then he added, but don't forget, you have gotten a lot stronger. I have no doubt you can win the tournament this time. I promise I will be rooting for you. Serena thought about what Ash had said for a second. It was true she had gotten more Pokemon and had trained her Pokemon very hard, but those trainers were still really strong at the chateau. She remembered Hennessy telling her that gym leaders sometimes participated. What if she faced a gym leader Could she win? Earth to Serena, Ash called while waving a hand in front of her face, causing Serena to snap out of her thoughts. Oh, right. Thank you, Ash. You're right. I can win, she said. No problem, Ash said. He then turned to Pikachu. Ready to go get our second badge, buddy? Pikapi, it responded. This is the gym? Ash exclaimed in shock. That's what the guy who we asked for directions said, Serena replied with an equal amount of amazement. Pikachu, oh, Pikachu added, also in awe. Ash, Serena, and Pikachu were now standing in front of the Cerulean City gym. It didn't look like a gym at all, however. It looked more like a giant aquarium or some type of large event center. It was in the shape of a dome with pink and yellow stripes coloring the roof, and had large dugong painting on top of the structure for design. If it wasn't for the word Cerulean Gym on the structure, it could easily be mistaken for something else. Well, we might as well go in, Ash said as they began to walk through the entrance. They certainly weren't expecting the place to be so crowded. There was a long line that led up to what seemed like a ticket booth. Surely there aren't that many people here to challenge the gym leader all at once, Ash said in shock. This place is nuts. I wonder if it is always like this, Serena wondered to herself. Do you think we should go on to the Battle Chateau and come back later when the line isn't so long? Ash asked Serena. No. That's okay since we are already here. By the time we get all the way to the Battle Chateau, it would be time for us to be at the front of the line anyway, Serena replied. Yeah. Good point, Ash agreed. After waiting in line for 25 minutes, Ash, Serena, and Pikachu were finally at the front of the line where they were met by an usher. Hello. I'd like to request a battle with the gym leader of Cerulean City, Ash told him. The usher looked at him strangely. There aren't any gym battles going on right now. Everyone lined up has come to see the Sensational Sisters perform, the usher replied. Sensational Sisters? This is the Cerulean Gym, isn't it? Ash asked in confusion. It is, but it also doubles as our underwater theater for the shows performed here, said the usher. Oh, Ash said in a slightly disappointed tone. I can get you to a ticket if you came to see the Sensational Sisters if you like, but if you want to have a gym match, it will have to wait, the usher said apologetically. We might as well see the show, Ash. At least then we might be able to talk to someone about when the gym leader is available, Serena reasoned. Alright, Ash answered Serena, before turning back to the usher. Do I need to pay for a ticket for Pikachu? No sir. Your Pikachu can get in for free, the usher replied. In that case, 2 tickets to the Sensational Sisters, please, Ash requested. Once the usher happily gave the tickets to Ash and Serena, they began to make their way to the central stadium, where they heard the show was taking place. When they entered, the place was already packed. It was difficult, but Ash and Serena finally found 2 adjacent empty seats, so they could still sit next to each other. As soon as they sat down, the lights dimmed. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the stars of our show. The Sensational Cerulean City Synchronized Swimming Sisters. A voice announced over an intercom. As the crowd roared in excitement, Ash, Serena, and Pikachu looked up and saw 3 teenage girls whom Ash assumed were the Sensational Sisters on top of a very high diving board. They gave a wave to the audience and dove the long way down into the water very gracefully. Once they hit the water, they began to do various underwater tricks in perfect sync. Ash thought they were pretty good, but this wasn't his thing, so he was little bored. Serena and Pikachu, on the other hand, were enamored by the grace and beauty of the Sensational Sisters. Serena wished that she could have that kind of grace. Once the Sensational Sisters finished their show, they got out of the water and waved once more to the audience. The crowd, as well as Serena and Pikachu, erupted into applause, while Ash just clapped his hands out of respect and politeness. He just wanted to know when he could battle the gym leader. The Sensational Sisters then left the room as the audience got out of their seats and began to leave as well. Serena got up to leave, but Ash stopped her. Wait, he said. If we hang around here for a bit, the gym leader may show up. Serena nodded and sat back down next to Ash while they waited. Soon everybody had left the room and only Ash, Serena, and Pikachu were left. After about 10 more minutes of waiting, both Ash and Serena figured the gym leader wasn't coming anytime soon. Ash rose from his seat sadly. I guess the gym leader isn't showing up today. It looks like we will have to try again another time. Serena nodded her head sympathetically, and together they left the performance room and entered the hallway. The hallway was adorned with different fish tanks built into the walls with various fish-like Pokemon swimming to them. I just don't get it, Ash said to himself as they walked along the hallway. It was then that they heard voices ahead of them. The voices belonged to none other than the Sensational Sisters themselves. Now that they were a little closer, Ash and Serena could definitely see the family resemblance, except their hair and eye color was different. One had blonde hair with green eyes, one had dark pink hair with blue eyes, and the last one had blue hair with brown eyes. Ash and Serena could swear they also looked just like someone else they knew, but push that aside for now. The three teenage girls continued to approach Ash, Serena, and Pikachu as they chatted animatedly to each other about various things. It was then Ash had an idea. Maybe they knew where he could find the gym leader. He and Serena then walked over to them. Excuse? Ash interrupted as politely as he could. The Sensational Sisters stopped talking and looked at him in surprise. I'm sorry, but if you two want an interview, you have to call our manager, the pink-haired sister replied. She had Valley Girl accent. No, it isn't that, Ash said as he shook his head. He was about to try again, but the pink-haired sister interrupted him. We don't do autographs either, she said almost snootily. I don't want one. Just listen, Ash said gently. I was just wondering if you three knew where the gym trainer was. I would like to have a match. You're looking at them, the blonde-haired sister, who they presume to be the oldest sister, said also in a Valley Girl accent. What? Ash and Serena asked stupidly. The three of us are the gym leaders here, the blonde-haired girl said again. We're the Sensational Sisters, the pink-haired one said dramatically. We are world famous. I'm Violet, the blue-haired one added. I'm Lily, the pink-haired one introduced, and I'm Daisy, the blonde-haired one finished. Then what's with all that swimming? Ash asked in a confused tone. It's like our hobby, and our fans love it, Lily replied. We pool our talents to make a big splash. Violet added before she and the rest of her sisters erupted into giggles. Ash and Serena exchanged questioning glances with each other. They were clearly thinking the same thing. These girls seemed to be pretty arrogant, if not a little weird. Ash, Serena, Pikachu, and the Sensational Sisters were now standing back in the room with the large pool. It was now Ash decided to formally request a match. I would like to battle you now for the Cascade Badge, Ash declared with determination. The Sensational Sisters got nervous expressions on their faces when Ash made his request. What's wrong? Ash asked. Well, we would accept your challenge if we had Pokemon to battle with, Daisy replied as she played with a lock of her hair. Wait. You're telling me this is a Pokemon gym, and you don't have any Pokemon to battle with? Ash exclaimed in disbelief. It isn't like that, Violet defended. It's just we have suffered so many losses recently that all our Pokemon are at the Pokemon Center. This brown spiky-haired kid named Gary Oak from this nowhere place called Pallet Town, and another angry-looking kid named Paul seriously beat us recently. It was a real bummer. Ash's face fell when he realized Gary had already been here, but he briefly wondered if the Paul they had mentioned was the one he met in Pewter City. The only Pokemon left are a Goldeen that can only use its horn attack and a Starmie that won't listen to us. It only listens to our little sister, so there is really no point in battling, Daisy said. Why can't I just battle your little sister then? Ash inquired. She isn't here right now. She left on some journey because she thinks she can prove herself to us, Lily replied. Oh, Ash muttered disappointedly. Well, what am I supposed to do now? I know what want, a cascade badge, Daisy said as she clapped her hands and a seal-like Pokemon jumped out of the water and opened its mouth to reveal the cascade badge. Serena took out her Pokédex to scan it. Seal, the sea lion Pokemon. The horn on its head is very hard and it can smash through thick icebergs, said the Pokédex. Daisy then took the badge from Seal's mouth and held it out to Ash. You can just have it, she said. Ash looked at the badge for a moment before he shook his head. I can't do that. I want to earn my badges. I would never be able to enter the Pokemon League with pride knowing I didn't officially beat every gym leader, he said seriously. Daisy, Violet, and Lily then let out a sigh. If that's how you feel, you will have to wait a few days until all of our Pokemon are healed at the Pokemon Center, Daisy said a little sadly. Ash couldn't help but feel slight anger. Not only did he have to wait a bit to find the gym leaders, now he even had to wait for his match. To top it off, these girls didn't even seem to care about being gym leaders in the first place. He then felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see Serena giving him sympathetic look. He then sighed. Come on, Serena. Let's go. We'll come back in a few days. Hopefully I can battle by then, he said. Serena nodded, and they were just about to leave when they heard a familiar voice shout, hold it right there. Ash, Serena, and Pikachu spun around to see Misty running towards them and the Sensational Sisters from the other side of the room. Misty? What are you doing here? Ash asked in surprise. Misty ignored that question until she reached the three sisters. She then looked up at Daisy and gave her a serious expression. If you don't want to battle Ash then I will, she declared. Huh? What gives you the right to battle me for a badge? Ash asked in confusion. These three are my older sisters. I'm the fourth Sensational Sister. Misty said proudly. Excuse me? There are only 3 Sensational Sisters and 1 runt, Lily said while giving Misty a disapproving look. Misty seethed at her older sister's comment, while Ash and Serena both thought to themselves, Misty being a gym leader here explains a lot, why she didn't need a recommendation at the battle. Shadow and her unwillingness to come here. What are you doing back here so soon, anyway, little sister? Daisy asked in a condescending manner. Well, Misty trailed. I thought I remembered a certain someone saying she wouldn't come back until she became stronger. Wasn't that you? Violet asked. I might have said something like that, Misty said quietly. Or maybe you came back because you couldn't resist being in our presence, because we are much more talented and beautiful than you are. Lily taunted. Misty gritted her teeth in anger again as Ash leaned over and whispered to Serena, do you think we should intervene on Misty's behalf? I don't think we should get involved in their family's arguments, Serena whispered back. I only came back so soon in the first place because they wanted to come. Misty snapped while pointing to Ash and Serena. Oh, so you know them? Is that kid your boyfriend? Daisy teased. Serena almost shouted out that Misty better not be, but held her tongue. It would only draw unwanted attention to herself. He is not my boyfriend. Misty yelled a little louder than necessary, much to Serena's relief that Misty didn't feel anything like that for Ash. We were just kidding. He isn't someone I would choose for a boyfriend, either, Daisy replied while Ash hung his head. Pick up Pikachu muttered as it patted its trainer on the back. Anyway, I've already said this. I came here to battle Ash, since you 3 won't. If I beat him, it will prove I'm just as good as you 3. Misty shouted with determination, while also trying to change the subject. Well, you are the only one of us who can battle him right now, so I suppose we don't have a choice, Daisy replied. Alright, Ash. Are you ready to rumble? Misty demanded while turning to him. Initially surprised by all of this confrontation between Misty and her sisters, Ash quickly recovered. "You bet. I'm in, Misty. I'll beat you and get that Cascade badge fair and square," he said with determination. "We'll see about that," Misty smirked. Ash and Misty were standing on opposite sides of the pool and facing each other intently, while Serena watched on the sidelines with Daisy, Violet, Lily, and Seal. While he certainly didn't believe he'd ever be facing Misty for an official badge, she had proven herself to be a competent trainer, so Ash felt no feelings about being shortchanged by battling her for a badge instead of her sisters. "So what are the rules?" Ash called out. "Since this isn't your first gym battle anymore, you have to use the same number of Pokemon as me. It will be a 2-on-2 match. You can still make substitutions if you want while I can't," Misty informed. "Sounds good to me," Ash replied back, before turning to Pikachu. "Are you ready for our second badge, Pikachu?" "Choo-hoo." Pikachu replied with determination. "Since you have an advantage over water Pokemon, I'm going to save you for last, Pikachu," Ash told it. The rodent nodded in agreement. "I'll go ahead and choose my first Pokemon," Misty declared. "I choose Staryu." Staryu appeared from the Pokeball and onto one of the two small platforms in the pool. Ash had seen this Staryu battle a few times before, so he was already aware it was quite strong. "In that case, I choose Butterfree," Ash yelled as he released it. Butterfree came out with a cry of free and flew into the air. "I'm ready when Ash," Misty declared. "If I can beat you, I will feel a lot better about you and Serena destroying my bike." She's still going on about her bike, Serena thought, in annoyance before she once again focused on the match that was about to take place. "Alright. I'll go first. Butterfree. Use Stun Spore," Ash commanded. Butterfree nodded as it flew over Staryu and sprinkled the dust on top of it, covering a wide area. Staryu began to twitch and shake violently once the dust fell onto it. "That won't work here, Ash. Staryu, wash it off," Misty told it. Staryu inched slowly towards the water due to it being paralyzed and fell in, effectively cleansing it of the powder. It then jumped back out of the water and looked as good as new. "Yay. That's the power of water Pokemon," Misty cheered. "It looks like status effects won't work here if Misty's Pokemon can just wash the powder off in the water," Ash said to himself. "It looks like I'll have to focus on just attacking. Staryu, dive underwater and use Tackle," Misty called. Staryu hopped into the water and the distortion made it difficult for Butterfree to see it underwater. "Be on the lookout, Butterfree. I can come out at any time," Ash warned. Butterfree nodded and waited for Staryu to appear again. Despite the impossibility of the situation, Ash, Serena, Pikachu, and Butterfree thought Staryu had drowned underwater due to how long it had been there. Suddenly, Staryu shot out of the water at lightning speed and spun towards Butterfree. It made a direct hit, and Butterfree was sent reeling back from the high-speed attack. Staryu then flew back into the water. That Staryu is fast. There has to be a way to counter it, Ash thought. No sooner had he finished this thought than Staryu erupted from the water again and went into a spinning tackle towards Butterfree once more. "Butterfree, use Confusion," Ash said quickly. Butterfree's eyes glowed blue, and it stopped Staryu just before it collided with it again. Staryu then became enveloped in a blue light. "Oh, no. Staryu!" Misty cried with worry. "Send Staryu sailing back towards the platform," Ash ordered. Butterfree nodded and Staryu went flying back towards Dryland and crashed on the platform rather painfully. It then got up slowly. "Are you still good to battle, Staryu?" Misty asked, receiving a nod. "Great. Let's try to get Butterfree from far away to avoid its confusion. Use Water Gun," Misty shouted. Steryu jumped into water once again and began shooting many streams of water at Butterfree. As Butterfree moved back and forth, dodging the jets of water, Ash couldn't help but be reminded of his gym battle with Brock, only Butterfree was dodging rocks instead of water then. Misty isn't like doing too badly, Violet commented from the side. She's better than I thought. Well, we inherited the beauty of this family, so I guess it's only fair that she got some talent in other things, Lily agreed. Eventually, Butterfree was beginning to tire out from dodging so much, and Ash knew he had to think of something quickly. Confusion or Psychic wouldn't work, since Steryu was halfway in the water, and it couldn't do a direct attack like Tackle either, because it couldn't get close due to the water. Try August attack to blow Steryu away. Ash tried. Butterfree began to flap its wings at Steryu, but Misty was ready. Dive underwater to avoid the wind, Steryu, she ordered as Steryu complied. Done. That's no good either. Ash scowled. Something then occurred to him. Hey, wait a minute, maybe we can get to Steryu while it's underwater also. Butterfree. Use Gust on the pool. What's he up to? Misty thought. Butterfree began sending strong gusts of air towards the pool. At first, nothing happened except for a few ripples. As Butterfree continued to blow its gust into the pool, the water began to become pretty choppy. It wasn't much longer before the pool began swaying back and forth violently. Water was splashing out of the pool and hitting the people outside of it, but Ash didn't care. Like, hey, watch where you're splashing. Daisy called as she and her sisters were continuously splashed by the turbulent waters. Serena was being splashed herself. She sulked slightly as her clothes were being drenched. She would make sure to get Ash back at some point for this. Despite Steryu being an aquatic Pokemon, it was getting hard for it to maintain its control because of how violent the waters were. It was continuously being tossed around and was unable to swim while Butterfree was safely in the air out of harm's way. Steryu finally had no choice but to come out of the water, and Ash saw his chance. Butterfree. Now use Gust on Steryu. Ash called Butterfree, then shifted its attention from the pool to Steryu and shot a large gust of wind at Steryu. The force was too much for Steryu to take, and it flew backwards and slammed hard into the Cerulean gym wall. It then slumped in defeat. Oh. Steryu, Misty muttered sadly at her fallen Pokemon. That was great, Butterfree. Way to go. Ash cheered. Misty returned Steryu to her Pokeball and gave Ash a serious look and said, you may have been able to beat Steryu, but this one is going to be much harder. Misty calls Starmie. The Pokeball opened up to reveal a Pokemon that looked similar to Steryu, except it was purple instead of tan in color. Its center red jewel was larger, and it had twice as many legs as Steryu. Starmie, Ash muttered as he pulled out his Pokédex. Starmie, the center core glows the 7 colors of the rainbow, and is sometimes valued as gem, said the Pokédex. It's okay, Butterfree. You can do it. Let's make this 2 for 2. Ash encouraged. Butterfree nodded and got ready for the battle. Starmie. Dive. Underwater. Misty called. Starmie obeyed and soon disappeared into the water. The pool had settled down, since Butterfree had used Gust. Butterfree. Use Gust on the pool just like before. Ash ordered. We're not falling for that one again, Ketchum. Misty hollered. Starmie used Tackle. Like Steryu before it, Starmie bolted out of the water and into a spin right towards Butterfree. Butterfree. Use Confusion to stop it. Ash called. Butterfree's eyes glowed blue for a moment before Starmie was caught in the blue aura. Much to Ash's surprise, it broke free of the aura and continued to speed towards Butterfree until it collided with it, sending Butterfree reeling back again in pain. I don't get it. Why didn't Confusion work? Ash wondered. Aside from Starmie being a lot stronger than Steryu, it's also gained a secondary typing in Psychic. It can now resist Butterfree's psychic attacks a lot easier, Misty answered. Ash knew he was in trouble once he heard that. Starmie, let's give them a taste of their own medicine. Use your own psychic attack. Misty called. Psychic waves began to emit from Starmie before they collided with Butterfree. Butterfree was knocked out of the air and into the water, where it began to struggle to get out of the water despite its injuries. Ash, knowing its defeat, decided to return it to its Pokeball. Butterfree, return, he called. The beam returned Butterfree to its Pokeball, and Ash smiled at it. You were great, Butterfree. Thank you. He then turned to look down at Pikachu. You're up, buddy. Chew. Pikachu cried as it jumped onto the second small platform in the pool. Misty smiled. Just because Pikachu is an electric type doesn't mean it has a huge advantage. It only has that small area to battle on while Starmie has the whole room. We'll see about that. Ash shot back. Pikachu. Thunder Shock. Starmie, dodge it. Misty countered. The electricity soared towards Starmie, but it was able to quickly move out of the way due to its speed. Starmie, dive underwater and use tackle like before. Misty commanded. Once Starmie dove in the water, Pikachu began to scan the waters. It could see a vague shape moving around in the water, but it was very fast and then disappeared. Pikachu mumbled as it was trying its hardest to keep track of Starmie. It then heard the splash of water signaling Starmie had come out, but it couldn't see it anywhere. Pikachu. Heads up, it heard Ash call, but it was too late. Starmie had come out of the water from behind Pikachu and slammed right into its backside, knocking it off the platform and into the pool. Starmie then returned underwater. Ash knew it wouldn't be a good idea to have Pikachu use an electric attack inside of the water unless he risked hurting Pikachu and probably frying everybody else in the gym to a crisp as well. He tried to think of something, but was unable to. In short, Pikachu was helpless in the water. Pikachu. Try to swim back to the platform. Ash said to it. Pikachu began dog paddling back to the platform as fast as it could, but Starmie was faster. It emerged from the water again, but this time from underneath Pikachu. Cha! Pikachu cried as it was sent soaring through the air. Starmie. Use water gun, hollered Misty. Starmie shot a jet of water from its top point straight towards Pikachu where it collided with the rodent and sent soaring back onto the hard platform. I think Misty might win this, Daisy said from the side as she and her sisters dried themselves with a towel. Serena was currently in a towel as well and trying to dry her clothes too, but it was a lot harder for her since she wasn't in a swimsuit like Misty's sisters were. Pikachu, can you stand? Ash asked with worry. Choo, Pikachu muttered tiredly as it slowly got up. It was running out of energy. I really hate having to hurt Pikachu like this, but it's necessary because of the gym battle. One more attack should take care of it. Starmie. Use tackle. Misty called out. Starmie then shot towards Pikachu at great speed once again. Pikachu. Try Thunder Shock again. Ash said through gritted teeth. Pikachu once again launched the attack, but Starmie easily spun out of the way and continued its track to Pikachu. Pikachu was a sitting duck with nowhere to go. It would be in trouble both in and out of water. Ash knew Pikachu probably couldn't take another hit, but he couldn't think of anything. Starmie was too fast to be hit by any of Pikachu's electric attacks. Ash had to admit Misty had trained her Pokemon well. The only way Pikachu would be able to hit Starmie would be if it was stunned. As Ash and Pikachu watched helplessly as Starmie came closer, Ash was reminded of the rocks that were thrown at Pikachu in the Pewter Gym. How they were traveling at a high speed and Pikachu had to use Iron Tail to deflect them. Wait, that's it. I've got it. Ash thought. He then called out, Pikachu. Get an Iron Tail ready. Pikachu looked at its trainer and nodded its head as its tail began to glow white. It must have been thinking the same thing as its trainer. Starmie was almost upon Pikachu, and it was ready. Pikachu got on all fours. Just as Starmie was about to collide with Pikachu, the rodent leaped into the air and swung its iron tail around right into Starmie. The force of both attacks caused incredible knockback for them both as they went soaring in different directions. Pikachu did a flip in midair and regained its balance, while Starmie was still flying backwards, still a little stunned, since it received the brunt of the attack. Ash then saw his chance. Pikachu. Thunder shock, he yelled. Pikachu let loose a massive stream of electricity from its whole body. This thunder shock seemed to be a lot more intense than previous ones. Ash's face lit up with excitement once he realized what it was. Pikachu had learned Thunderbolt. The electricity sailed towards Starmie, who was unable to dodge due to its stunned state. It was engulfed in the massive amount of electricity. Oh, no. Starmie. Misty exclaimed worriedly as her Pokémon continued to be shocked. It then began to fall through the air and back into the water where it disappeared. Everyone in the gym, people and Pokémon alike, waited anxiously to see if Starmie would resurface. Everyone had a tense look on their faces. Soon, they saw a shape began to come towards the water surface. Ash couldn't believe that Starmie could still have fight in it after such a powerful electric attack. Soon, however, he was proven wrong as Starmie broke the water surface where it simply floated. Its red jewel was blinking in and out. It had been defeated. I can't believe it. You beat Starmie. Misty exclaimed in disbelief. Alright. Way to go, Pikachu. Ash congratulated. Pikachu faced Ash and did a V-shape with its fingers before falling in exhaustion. Ash went over to it and scooped Pikachu up in his arms before he went over to where Misty's sisters, Serena and Seal, were waiting for him by the edge of the pool. That was awesome, Ash. Serena praised once he reached them. Thanks, I couldn't have done it without my Pokémon, he said. He then looked down at Pikachu in his arms. Do I have the greatest Pokémon ever, or what? Pikachu smiled and nodded its head. As Misty came over to join the group, she was expecting her sisters to make fun of her for losing, but to her surprise, they did just the opposite. Hey, Misty. That was like a super awesome battle you did, Daisy said. Totally, added Violet. You're a lot better than we made you out to be, Lily continued. What do you mean? I lost, Misty asked in bewilderment. Like that doesn't matter. The way you handled your Pokémon was great. You're an excellent trainer, Daisy answered. Wow. You mean it? Misty asked hopefully. Totally. I mean, you are one of the 4 sensational sisters. After all, Daisy smiled. You consider me a sensational sister? Misty asked, her eyes shining with tears of happiness. Of course. Despite how we tease you, you know we still love you, Daisy reminded. It was always one of Misty's goals to be recognized by her sisters. Misty wiped her eyes and turned to Ash. Ash, you have definitely gotten a lot stronger since I first met you. You beat me fair and square. You really have earned the Cascade badge. She then handed the blue, tear-shaped badge to Ash. Thanks, Misty, Ash replied as he set down Pikachu to take it. He then held it out in front of him. I just got the Cascade badge. That was a great victory, Ash. How do you feel? Serena asked him. I feel on top of the world. Like I can handle anybody. Ash replied happily. Good. Then handle this. Serena smirked as she quickly pushed Ash into the pool, causing quite a splash. Ash resurfaced and glared at Serena. Hey, what was that for? He asked a little angrily. That was for completely drenching me and my clothes while you were battling, Serena replied with her hands on her hips. She then got closer to the pool to stick her tongue out at him, but Ash saw it coming. Hey, Serena. Think fast. Ash said quickly. He then grabbed her by the leg and pulled her into the pool with him. Serena gave a shriek as she fell into the pool and went underwater, her hat coming off in the process. Serena then came back up to see Ash laughing at her. She then gave Ash a death glare. "That's it, Ash Ketchum. You're going to get it." Seeing that look in her eyes, Ash decided to swim for his life. He immediately swam to get out of the pool as fast as he could with Serena right behind him. Everyone else looked on in amusement. Despite Ash being a good swimmer, he wasn't as fast as Serena. She caught Ash and easily overpowered him as she began to dunk him continuously, until he cried for mercy. "I think we already missed the Battle Chateau challenge today, so I guess we will just have to go tomorrow," Ash informed Serena. Ash, Serena, and Pikachu were now walking through Cerulean City again by themselves. It was now about 5:30 in the evening, and Misty had decided to spend the rest of the day with her sisters. She told Ash and Serena they could stay at the Cerulean Gym for the night if they liked, but they politely refused to give Misty better family time. They would just sleep in a Pokémon Center. "That's okay. I have more time to prepare. If we go tomorrow, anyway," Serena replied. She then added, "It's still going to be a couple of hours before we meet Brock, so we might as well find a place to eat." I wish we would have asked Misty or her sisters if they knew of any good places to eat or something we could do for the next 2 hours, Ash sighed. "I can't help you out with the food situation, but I know what we can do," Serena told Ash while giving him a wink. "Really? What?" Ash asked curiously. "Shopping," Serena exclaimed happily as they stopped in front of a mall, and she stood in front of Ash. "It's been a while since I've been to the city. I bet there are some stores with some really cute outfits in that mall." She put her hands on her cheeks and blushed at the thought. Ash and Pikachu got terrified expressions on their faces. "Please, Serena. Not shopping. Anything but that," Ash pleaded. Serena gave a pouting look at Ash, but her face soon lit up with excitement and surprise when she saw someone approaching Ash from behind. Ash was about to ask what was up when all of a sudden, his world was covered in complete darkness. Someone was covering up his eyes with their hands. "Guess who?" a familiar voice asked playfully behind him. Ash recognized the voice immediately, but decided to humor the owner of it anyway. "It has to be some weird person who likes to sneak up on people." "Jerk," the voice's owner responded in mock anger, before removing their hands from Ash's eyes. Ash turned around to see Leaf grinning broadly at him and Serena. Ash gave her a smile back. "It's good to see you again, Leaf. How have you been?"